What's up, guys? We are back with, I think this is my first Dragon Ball review in a little while. I'm still just so far behind, but we are taking a look at one of the bigger releases for the year, I think. Definitely one that a lot of folks have been looking forward to because it's Goku, so everybody needs one. So we're taking a look at our Dragon Ball Super Ultra Instinct Goku. So we've got him here in our standard style packaging for the Figuarts Dragon Ball line. Figure in the window, you've got a product shot on the front as well. You've got a little bit of artwork down the spine showcasing the figure, and then you've got a bunch of product shots and a write-up on the back as usual. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our SH Figuarts Ultra Instinct Goku from Dragon Ball Super. So this is the latest in the long-running Goku line, and we've gotten, I mean, pretty much every version of him. We're getting more versions of him. There's always ways to get new Gokus, and I'm always going to be here for it because, I mean, you kind of have to be, right? So I've really been looking forward to this guy, and I do need to mention, before we get started, that this figure was provided for review by Bluefin, so I'm going to put a link to them down below, and then I'm also going to put a link down below to the PBandai US site if you're not familiar with the fact that we are getting formerly Japan web exclusive items here in the US as US web item exclusives. So, for instance, the upcoming Kid Gohan from the Namek Saga. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming, so be sure to check that out. But let's get started. See what this guy can do. As usual, check out articulation, see how he moves around. There might not be too much that's surprising here, but he does move around pretty well. So we've got a head that can look up about that far. He does have a lot of hair, you know, I mean, obviously, right? So it does get in the way a little bit, but the neck is, of course, independently articulated. You can get a really good, pretty menacing downward motion. I really dig being able to have the heads look down, you know, at an enemy or when put him up on something and have him looking down on it. And then you've got pretty good tilt side to side, so you give him a little attitude there, and then you've got full rotation, of course, and then again the neck is articulated. The arms go out at the shoulders, they rotate. You do have a little bit of a butterfly joint in there, so you can get him to kind of pull forward a little bit. It helps when you use the Kamehameha effect that we will talk about later. You've got a bicep swivel, we've got our double jointed elbows, and then you've got ball hinges at the wrist, so pretty much full range of motion and then full rotation. As usual, pretty standard stuff for the line. We do have a torso crunch, so he goes backwards. There is a gap there. If you push him back too far, he goes forwards. You've got tilt side to side, and then of course you've got full rotation. Legs go out about that far, and then they kick forward, basically all the way. They kick backwards, likely far more than you need. And then you do have your thigh cut up there. We do have our double jointed knees. They move pretty good. Of course, he's got the big baggy pants, which always get in the way, but they move well enough, if maybe being a little bit unsightly. You do have rotation at the ankles. You've got your hinges. It's a ball down there as usual. Then you've got hinge forward and backward and rocker down there. And then you've also got your toe articulation. So he's still pretty standard, but he of course is on the more, well, the current body. I'm not going to say the more updated because we've had it for a while now, but he moves pretty well, and there's really not much getting in the way of putting him into some really solid dynamic poses. Now, as far as the aesthetics go on this figure, I would say that maybe initially a lot of people would just think, well, there's a lot of Awakening Goku here, and that's not really the case. So I'm not really going to do like a stark comparison between the two. Obviously, they sort of seem similar, and that's fine. It doesn't really matter. They very much kind of fit the same mold when it comes to what's happening, so they're similar, but not really worth comparing in my mind. They'll probably show up in a picture together, though. So we've got kind of a standard Goku. I'm not going to say there's anything too crazy about this figure. It's a very point-in-time thing. So you do have him with his shirt blown off. You've got the remnants of his shirt, which I really like this aspect of it. It's a separate piece, so it does move. It kind of acts like a belt almost, but of course it's not a belt. And you've got like a really, really nice, vibrant, saturated blue there. You've got the blown-out knee on the pants, and then you've got the tear over here. There's not really any shading on the body of Goku, which I kind of wish there was. If anything, I kind of wish there was a lot of shading in these like scrapes that he's got all over his body, but there is shading all over his pants, which frankly, if I had to pick between the two, it's this that I would prefer because it really makes these figures pop. So there's a lot of dark orange shading on his obviously orange pants. You got it on the knee, up here on the thighs, always around the crotch as usual, and then it's also on the back. So it does look really good. I dig the scratches all over the body. I think it looks really good. Especially when you've got him under the right lighting, it will kind of make things pop. and just stand out a little bit from being just a really flat base body. I think the musculature on him looks really good. I mean, it's Goku, so he's obviously going to be, you know, very jacked, as always. But really, when it comes to the big thing for this figure, I mean, it's kind of obvious what it's going to be. The one key difference between this figure and every other Goku so far is it's the hair, because, I mean, look at it. So the head sculpt on this guy very much works. Very happy with it. Not really anything to write home about as far as good, bad, or otherwise. It's just as good as every other Goku that we've gotten for quite a while now, but it very much works. The eyes are really clean and crisp. He's got more of those scratches. He's got like one on his forehead, and he's got one over here on his cheek. They're really subtle. You know, he's also got one on his other cheek too, now that I didn't notice. See, they're subtle. And they work really well just to add a little bit of depth, not throwing the entire figure off. Maybe a little shading would have helped a little bit, but at the end of the day, just the idea of them being there works for me. But it's all about the hair on this figure, because it's kind of an odd color. It's not like metallic silver. It's a very, the word I want to use is thick, if that makes any sense. Kind of like a cakey feel and look to it almost, but in a good way. That's not a negative. Don't take that to mean a negative. I think the hair looks fantastic. I mean, this is classic Goku hair, non-Super Saiyan style hair, and I really like it. It's jagged and pointy, and it's going all over. It's very asymmetrical, but this silver is really deep and rich, and it just looks good. It works really well. There's not really any shading up here, but I don't think it's necessary in this instance. It looks really good. It very much gives off the idea of him going Ultra Instinct, and it's really different. It's going to stand out next to all the other Gokus. I mean, they all basically stand out from one another, from regular to Super Saiyan to, you know, Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, all of the various versions of Goku. But this one is really cool, and I dig the color choice here. For some reason, it works a lot better than if it was like super shiny and bright. There is like almost a dullness to how this thing works. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but when you get it in hand, it might make things a little more clear. Now, as far as accessories goes, Goku is pretty well loaded here. We've got a solid array of faces, hands, but we do have one very important accessory, at least for me, something that I think we don't get enough of in this line, so I'm really happy to see one. So to start with, we'll talk about hands. So you've got a set of fist hands on him here in the box. We've got a set of style pose hands with kind of two fingers out. We've got a set of gripping Kamehameha style hands, and then we've got a set of splayed finger hands. So if you want to do like a actual projection blast pose for the figure. And then we do have three different faces. So you've got the kind of stern, stoic, not expressionless face to begin with. He definitely is kind of grimacing there, but you've got a face where he's looking off to his left, and then you've got a face where he's screaming, and then you've got a face where he is gritting his teeth. So you've got a lot of different options when it comes to expressions and face plates, and then of course you do have a lot of hands. But the star of the show for me is undoubtedly, and there was no chance it was going to be anything else, is the blast effect. So we have a kind of pearlescent light blue Kamehameha charging effect. And, you know, we've seen these before. I don't think that we've seen one since Goku Black, unless I'm misremembering. Again, I'm still kind of out of whack when it comes to Dragon Ball Figuarts, but I haven't messed with one since that figure, I think. And you've got the 7 rods, beams that are coming out of it, so you put those in, and then it's got the handholds for the two-handed pose. And I love this effect. I love the idea of it. I always like getting actual blast effects, but the charge up effect, this is really iconic, and it looks really good. And frankly, it's among my favorite effects accessories in the entire line. So to be able to get another one works really well. It's got kind of a pearlescent-y blue, but with a silver tinge to it as well, so it definitely kind of matches up with the hair a little bit. So I'm really happy we got this guy. I mean, again, this was the crowning jewel in this box for sure. There's nothing else that comes close to it being as cool as this accessory for this guy. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this figure. There's really not much to complain about on this one, and I'm not really sure how there could be. He looks really good, he moves really well, and he comes with a solid array of accessories. For me, the big thing with this figure, not just the fact that it's this version or the fact that he's got, you know, this very unique hairstyle, it's again that he comes with an effect piece and it's a Kamehameha effect piece, which I really dig that effect part. I think it's not utilized enough. You know, oftentimes we don't get anything and I feel like I'm left wanting, whereas this time I'm definitely getting exactly what I want when it comes to a Dragon Ball Z Figuarts. We're getting a really solid sculpt, we're getting great movement, but we're getting the accessories that make these guys so cool, because that's really what does it for me. Is all the stuff we always get is always a great bonus, but to be able to get like that one key piece, and that's what we get here, really sets this figure over the top for me. If you can't tell by now, I really love getting energy effect parts with my DBZ stuff, and this guy delivered. So that's going to do it for this look at the Dragon Ball Super Ultra Instinct Goku SH Figuarts. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.